Hello and welcome to the channel. I will be doing an Ascension 10 run with the Regent. This is a very long video, but for obvious reasons, I will be fully explaining all my decisions with the idea of helping others to improve their gameplay and their strategy overall. So if you enjoy this content and you want to see more, please like and subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. Okay, so we get offered the Booming Conch, which generally speaking at the moment, this one of Niao's bonuses is just like it's just not takeable. It's really doesn't give you enough of a benefit, in my opinion. Like you want immediate benefit that's going to last throughout the whole run. Um, and yeah, you are going to want to fight elites, but typically you're only getting a bonus in that combat, in those specific combats. So if you just look at our pathing, yeah, I mean, we could take on quite a few elites in this path, like 1, 2, 3 on that run. There's 1, 2, 3, but we're still only getting that bonus in those fights. So we don't get it in the boss fights, we don't get it in the normal hallway fights, right? So at the moment, I think this probably needs a rework or something needs to happen to this to make it takeable, all right? So I'm disregarding that straight away. We're going to take either the lead paperweight or the scroll boxes. Either are very takeable. I do generally think that colourless cards in Slay the Spire are very good, and they're also because we're playing the Regent, right? So the Regent has a card, or well, actually, it's been reworked now that it said about colourless cards gaining strength. Now it's just any card you create. But we could look at the packs, and I think we probably will do that. All right. So I'm just gonna probably pick up scroll boxes, but I'm just going to sort out my pathing next. So the way I think about pathing is I want to take elites. Generally speaking, 2 elites per act is like a rule of thumb, but don't get hung up on it. Honestly, it's like if you only take 1, it's fine. Taking none is probably not that advisable because you just won't gain the strength over the course of the run. Think of it this way, right? What I've tended to realize on my runs is that I average probably fighting at least 5 elites, right, across the 3 runs. Those are like the ones that I'm winning, but they're not the only way that I'm getting relics, and it's certainly not the main way we're getting increasing the power of the deck. Okay, so I'm looking at this run here where we've got a fire, elite, and a fire. So typically, what you want to look at is can I, if things go wrong, recover, right? So here, I've got an elite, and then I've got the mid-act chest, and I've got a fire. So if this elite fight goes badly, like really badly, like we're on so low HP, say less than a quarter of our HP is left, then I'll rest, and I'll avoid this elite. I won't go there, and I'll come here, and I might need to I'll upgrade another card, and then I can even consider not taking either of these elites, and I only take 1 in the act, but as I said, we're aiming for as many as we can do. But if we only take 1, we only take 1. The main problem we want to think about is how we're going to deal with the soulfish. All right, and I'll come to that a little bit later on. So I'm going to choose this path. I'm going to go up here. Typically as well, at the start, you want to take at least 3 of these hallway fights, right? Because there's what is called the easy pool of fights, and they're typically much easier to win. They're designed to be winnable with your starting deck. Right, so it's very important that you take your 3 fights. Typically, you want an upgrade before you fight an elite as well. All right. So going this way, I get my 1, 2, 3 guaranteed fights and 2 events. Generally speaking, as well, I would say events in Slay the Spire 2 are stronger than they were in the first game. Hallway fights, advanced hallway fights in particular, before you build up strength, can be quite tricky. So just expect to lose some HP in hallway fights as well. Okay. With that said, I'm going to just quickly move on to look at the scroll boxes. I could take the lead paperweight. I'd be happy taking either here, but I'm just going to talk through my ideas between these 2. So here we've got Celestial Might, which is deal 6 damage 3 times. Can be good, very good for strength scaling. Or some of the cards which have Vigor also apply really well to Celestial Might. Also another good damage option in Crush Under, and Quasar, which we can choose a colourless card for 0 cost but 2 star cost and add it to our hand. So that's quite a strong pack in my opinion. This one is again, it's reasonably takeable. I do feel like the minion sort of build for the Regent is much more difficult. It's one of the it's more difficult than the other builds, like the Star build and the big sword build. Typically, this is much more difficult to go. The collision course obviously works well with Begone, but you also have to get it in the hand, right? So 0 cost collision course, debris. Think of this card, it's at the worst, it's at 1 cost, right? And sometimes you'll think, right, 0 cost, I'm not going to draw it again, and you can just play it. So this is a really strong card. The problem I have is that Particle Wall is not very usable at the moment, like 9 block, 0 cost, 2 stars, return this to our hand. We haven't got any star generation. So that said, this has got the best damage output. So that's the pick I'm going to go with, okay? Right, so I'm just going to quickly go through the fights, and then we'll be back. I'm going to carry on this path, and I'll sort of just briefly touch in as we go, okay? Okay, so turn 1 against the Sludge Spinner. They're going to debuff us and make us weak, and they're attacking for 9. So we've got Falling Star in our hand, which I do actually favour over playing the Quasar in this instance, because it's going to make them weak. But also vulnerable, so our strike is going to deal more damage. We could just play the Quasar and see what we get. It might be a very powerful card, but I think I'm happy just to attack and block here, and we've done a reasonable amount of damage to them on turn 1. So we are currently weak, but on this turn we can simply look at what's in our draw pile and see that Celestial Might is there, which is going to be 6 times 3. So as long as we can get them down to 18, we will win the fight next turn. And Crush Under is also going to save us 1 point of damage because it makes them lose strength. We can play this defend, strike, and we take 1 damage, but we will win the fight next turn. Okay, so we've been offered Resonance, which is a very strong card. You gain strength and all enemies lose 1 strength. Those are both permanent for the fight. Obviously 1 cost in energy, but 3 cost in stars. So in order for this to be workable, you need some reasonable star generation. At the very start of the run, obviously we've only got the Venerate in terms of star production. And typically in most of the early fights, you're going to want to be dealing damage quickly. So unfortunately, as strong as card as this is, it's not very takeable right now. Okay, so we could pick up the Astral Pulse. So unlike the Resonance, it is 0 cost and 3 stars, so it's got the same star cost, but it actually deals damage when you play it, right? So 14 to all enemies is a very strong amount of damage, particularly in the early part of the game, right? It will need some help and some scaling later on, but this is a very strong early game card, all right? So this is very takeable. Lunar Blast. So Lunar Blast deals damage for each skill we've already played this turn. So if we think about this being 0 cost, and at the moment, we've got our basic defense, we've got Venerate, and we've got Quasar as our skill. So in the deck, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 14. And if we add our Lunar Blast, that'll be 6 out of 15. So, we're looking at percentage-wise in our deck, we haven't got that many skills. 4 for each one we've already played. I mean, granted, we could actually make another one from Quasar and play that as well. So at the very most, we're playing 4 in a turn, right? So that would be 16. But in order to do that, we would need to draw the Quasar and 3 defends. I guess we could play 5 potentially if we got another 0 cost skill out of the colourless cards. But let's take that as bet. That's 20, but it's highly unlikely to happen. So in this scenario, the Astral Pulse is going to be my pick. Alright, so our second fight is against the 2 Toad Poles. This guy is going to give himself Thorns next turn and will attack. It'll usually be the multi-attack. This guy's obviously attacking for 8 right now. The good thing is about this is we can actually kill this guy on the first turn because we've got Falling Star into Celestial Might, and that can literally just kill them. And that's what we're going to do, and then we can strike the other one. And we've still got 3 defends in our draw pile, so the chances of us drawing at least one of those is pretty good. we could also potentially have a kill next turn as well if we draw Astral Pulse, and Venerate we would need as well. But yeah, so this is the way we're going to do it. Okay, so turn 2 here, I think it's worth us to Venerate and Quasar and see if we can pick up another block card. Obviously they are doing the multi-attack and they have got the Thorns, so we probably don't really want to do the 2 strikes. We could, outside chance, generate a card which just gets the win here for us. So we might as well just Venerate and see what Quasar can make. Okay, so we could take the win, and in fact that is what we're going to do. So here we've made Volley, which deals 10 damage to an enemy X times. We've got 2 energy left, so that would be 20 damage. In this scenario, we are going to take 2 hits from the Thorn, so that would be 4 damage in total. But if you look, if we just played this Defend and did nothing else this turn, because if we're playing Defend, we're not playing a Strike. If we did that, we're still going to take 7 damage from the 4x3, right? So we might as well just pick up the Volley and play the Volley and take 4. For our card reward, we've been offered Monologue. So whenever we play a card this turn, we gain 1 strength, and that upgrades to be a retaining card, so it will stay in our hand if we don't play it. This is actually interesting at the moment because obviously we do have a few 0-cost cards already in the deck. Granted, all those 0-cost cards cost stars, but essentially this is always going to gain us at least 1 or 2 strength whenever we play it. We could look at taking Spoils of Battle. This is on the most recent patch. It has had a bit of a rework where it now draws cards and makes the Sovereign Blade. Honestly, I'm not against just having like access to the sword at certain points, and I think here it is fine to do, right? So this card, if you think about it as like it's just a draw 2, right? But it also puts a 15 damage 2-cost card in your hand. So of these 3, I could see taking Monologue, but that's honestly sort of being a bit more speculative, right? In the future, this could be a really good card for us if we're able to chain off a load of cards in a turn. Say we've got lots of energy generation and lots of card draw, and star generation for our 0-cost star draws. This could be excellent, but I think here just picking up Forge, make a 2-cost attack and draw 2 cards is fine. Alright, so here's a fairly straightforward turn the way I see it. We don't need to play Spoils of Battle here because we've got Crush Under, which is obviously going to reduce this guy's strength, so our incoming damage will be 2x2 and we can just defend to block, and then we might as well strike one of them. Typically with the strategy here, when you kill one of these and they stun, whatever the other one is doing when they get stunned, they will do again after they stop being stunned. So here, if I was able to kill this one, next turn this guy would be trying to do the debuff. What you want to try and avoid is, say if I killed this one, you want to try and avoid doing that when the other guy is doing the multi-attack, because it will gain the strength and this will become an 8x2 next turn. Right, so I think it's fine here just to play our area damage attack, 7, and they lose 1 strength. Interesting, we know this guy is going to be attacking next turn, so this guy could potentially be doing the debuff, right? He could also be doing the other attack that they have. So this is the one that I'm going to target, because if we know this is attacking, we know this one won't be doing the multi-attack, right? So next turn, this is the one we want to kill to try and stun this guy. So here I think we've just drawn a kill. So Astral Pulse 14 to all, that's going to kill the first one. The other one obviously stuns, but Celestial Might will finish the job. So with our card options here, we've obviously got 2 of the sort of powers that scale with the builds. Parry's numbers seem to just be increasing up and up and up. I guess it's trying to help the Sovereign Blade builds because they have struggled, I think, somewhat. So unfortunately we can't really take that. We have got a Sovereign Blade creating card, but we're not really gonna, that's not the strategy that I'm sort of leaning towards. We're looking more at star generation going forward. I would say we really picked this up because it has draw 2 cards on it, and that is fine for 1 energy. The fact that it creates us a 2-cost attack is a bit of a bonus. Pillar of Creations is also interesting. This is a really good card if you can create a lot of cards, like if you can more or less guarantee you're going to create a card every turn. At the moment, obviously, we've got Quasar, that creates cards, and we've got Spoils of Battle. But I think having only 2 cards in our deck for this isn't enough. Patter, though, is a really good card for this build, right? So we've got the 9 block for 1 energy, which is obviously a massive improvement on the basic defense, but you also get the vigor, which increases the power of the next attack, and obviously that works really well with all of our attacks, but especially we've got Celestial Might, so just the extra damage that this can deal. We've got also 2 area attacks, so it works well with those in Astral Pulse and Crush Under, and it's also an improved block card, right? We haven't picked up another block card yet in our deck. We've only got the basic defense, and you do need improved block cards in Slay the Spire 2, so let's absolutely pick that up. We get the Brain Leech event. Obviously, you can see what it does. We can either choose 1 of 5 random cards to add to our deck, or we can gain a colourless card reward at the low cost of 5 HP. In this instance, and in most instances, it's fine to pick share knowledge, right? We are looking for, at the moment, cards that generate us stars, because we now have 3 cards which require star cost, and all of them are more than 2. Or 2 or more, sorry, and we've only got Venerate, so we're looking for a card, at least 1 at the moment, right, that generates stars, and there are lots of them in the pool, so the chances of us hitting 1 is pretty high. We could look at a colours card reward and see if we get a really powerful one, but generally speaking, I think it's fine to just pick this up and try and, you know, find cards that hit in with the strategy that you've already got. We've got a Patter, again, we've got Collision Course, 0 cost, adds a debris to the hand. Offered another Resonance. Glitter Stream is a decent block card. And the Crescent Spear. Now, the Crescent Spear at the moment, obviously, it deals extra damage for all the cards that have a star cost. So at the moment, that would be 1, 2, 3, and itself would be 4, right? So we'd actually get, this would be 1 star, 1 energy for 14 damage. Which is fine, and it can scale to be quite a much bigger card later on, right, if we're trying to lean into the star cost. So this is fine to pick up here. There's an argument for also picking up Glitter Stream. Second Patter is pretty reasonable as well, given that we've got Celestial Might. I'm going to pick up a second Patter, so actually doing 2 in a row. And the simple reason is because we're more likely to, if we've got 2 of them, we're more likely to hit Celestial Might, and it actually stacks, right? So the vigor stacks. So if you don't play an attack and you play Patter and then another Patter, you end up with 4, which can be quite a powerful effect. So again, it's also another block card to add to the deck. We're sort of trying to balance the amount of blocks and attacks we have. Alright, so in our next fight we can see we've got the 2 cultists. We've got Damp Cultist and we've got the Calcified Cultist. Now the main difference between these 2 is that the ritual that they apply will have a different number. The Damp Cultist starts with a lower attack but scales more aggressively, if you like. It has a bigger ritual number, and the Calcified Cultist's base power is higher, but it scales less. So typically the strategy is, if you think you can kill the Calcified Cultist on turn 2, and then sort of by turn 3, probably 4, kill the Damp Cultist, that's the way I would probably recommend to do it. Otherwise, you're sort of letting them scale too much if you're not winning the fight by sort of turn 5 at the very latest, right? And you will need to have absolutely killed one of them before that turn. Because we've got the 2 area cards, Astral Pulse and Crush Under, I'm not too worried, but I am just going to go after the Calcified Cultist first. We've obviously picked up Patter, so we could increase the vigor of our Celestial Might, but honestly it doesn't really matter at this point because we've picked up a Strike as well, and because they're not attacking, we don't need the block, so we can just go Celestial Might into Strike. This guy's on 17 now. Turn 2, obviously we can see now how much their stats are increasing by. So this guy's got Ritual 2, so it will gain 2 strength. So next time this would be 13. And this one's got Ritual 6, so next time this attack will be 9. We could play the Quasar, but honestly what I really want to play in this fight is the Astral Pulse. And we've only got the 3 stars, so we're actually not going to play Quasar here. We are going to patter, but after we've played the strike here. So the play is going to be patter, defend, and that's going to give us 14 block, which luckily is exactly what we need. And then strike, and then we'll carry the 2 vigor into the next turn, where hopefully we draw at least one of Astral Pulse or Crush Under, and we are able to kill the front one next turn. So yeah, we'll just go strike, patter, and defend. Turn 2, we didn't draw the Astral Pulse, which would have obviously been the best because it would have killed this one, just leaving us with the Damp Cultist to deal with. Next turn we can see that we're going to draw a defend, falling star, and the Astral Pulse. So typically what I think we might want to consider is falling star into Astral Pulse going to get us the kill on the back guy with some other energy? I mean, these 2 both costing 0 energy. It means that whatever other cards we play, unless they've got a star cost to them, we can just play, so the chances of us being able to block next turn are pretty high. So in order to play both of those, we need to play Venerate here, which means that we will take 8 damage, because this one will lose all their strength. And obviously we will need to hit this one as well to kill it. And I'm not sure it's actually worth to do that, so I'm just going to think maybe we don't play the Venerate, we'll play the Defend. So we're going to Crush Under first, obviously dealing most damage to both of them from a Vigor hit, hit the Calcified Cultist, and then we'll just defend. Alright, so we drew Venerate anyway, so obviously this turn is fairly simple, straightforward for us. We can Venerate, Falling Star, makes them both vulnerable and weak. Play the Astral Pulse, deals 21, and we get the block off, and because they're weak we only take 1. Alright, and then we draw some Celestial Might. So here we see, I said on turn 5, we've won, and we only took 4 HP. Alright, so here the card is obviously Solar Strike. It's another decent attack to go in the deck, but more importantly, it gives us a star. And upgraded, it actually gives us 2 stars, and I really like the upgrade on Solar Strike, particularly when we've got, as I say, 3 cards already that generate us stars. So I am going to pick this up. Okay, so at the fire we are going to upgrade, and I think just because we've got 2 Patters and Celestial Might, I'm fine to upgrade this so that it deals an extra 4th hit, if you like. So its base is essentially 24 damage for 2 energy, which is actually a pretty decent return in terms of damage. Generally speaking, I think that most characters benefit from having at least 1 big attack that can just finish an enemy off from quite far out on their HP. So obviously this dealing potentially just 24 flat out, you know, that can kill a lot of smaller enemies early on. But if we also add, you know, a Vigor into the mix, all of a sudden this is dealing, you know, it's dealing 8x4, which is very significant in terms of damage. 32 damage for 2 energy is pretty good very early on in the game. So yeah, I'm just going to upgrade the Celestial Might and move on. Alright, so we get the Gremlin fight here, and yeah, I think there's 2 ways you could go about this. You could play the strike and then play both the Patters. Obviously we're getting attacked for 8x2. The strike puts them to 45, and then we'll carry the 2 Vigor into the next turn, where hopefully we potentially draw our Celestial Might. But we could also Venerate, knowing that we've got our 0 cost star cards to come through, the Quasar, the Astral Pulse, and the Falling Star. Being able to play 2 of these 3 for 0 cost, guaranteed because we've played Venerate, is also a reasonable thing to think about. And actually, on their own, Falling Star and potentially Quasar have more value to us than just playing this strike right now. So I think what we will do is just Venerate, Patter, Patter. Alright, so this turn sort of plays itself now because we have drew Quasar. Let's see what we get. Okay, so from here I think there's potentially two options. We could take the prep time, which gives us just 4 vigor at the start of each turn. So that is going to guarantee us that Celestial Might is going to be dealing 40 damage. So I think that is a pretty reasonable pickup to consider. But we could also pick up this Splash and get a free attack from one of the other characters, and that could be a really big attack for us. And obviously it's free to play. So I think I'm going to pick this up first, and let's see what we make from this. The prep time obviously is a bit more of a long-term strategy. And if we were fighting an elite, I probably would have gone for that. Okay, so 3 pretty poor options for us. Obviously the time's up is useless. Scrape, deal 7 damage, and we'll draw through our deck, but we don't really want that. And the Flechettes is pretty bad because we don't have, well, we've got 1 skill in our hand right now. So let's just have a little look in our draw pile. If we drew into Falling Star, what we don't really want to do is draw through Celestial Might or the Solar Strike, if I'm honest. So yeah, we've got some pretty poor choices here. Let's just take the free Flechettes for 9 damage. Yeah, because of the vigor. We'll Crush Under. I think, do we want to save this? I don't know. I think we just need to play it, get the damage in. Unfortunately, we take a bit of a hit here. Alright, so being made weak is pretty nasty. We can see that next turn we can deal 21, which is enough to deal with them. But I think we just play the Celestial Might, because ideally what you want to do is have a turn against the Gremlin Merc where you kill the Merc before they split into the 2 smaller gremlins, at a point where you can then deal more damage to them rather than having to try and kill both on the following turn, which is very doable. It's just not as easy, shall we say. Okay, so Solar Strike is going to kill this one, and then we can Celestial Might. I guess we can kill the sneaky gremlin, but this one's got our gold. If you let this one survive, it will steal your gold, so best to get rid of it. So Venerate and Astral Pulse. GG. Okay, so for our card reward, we get offered another Solar Strike, another Spoils of Battle, or a Particle Wall. I honestly think that we don't necessarily need another Solar Strike right now. What I want to do is upgrade this so that we get 2 stars from playing it. Particle Wall, it's a reasonable card, right? But at the moment, its 2 star cost is just going to be too much for us, given that we've only got the Solar Strike and the Venerate to generate our stars, and we really want to be attacking with our star generation rather than blocking. And I don't think we want another Spoils, so I'm just going to skip. Okay, so our elite fight is the Skulking Colony. Obviously, the main issue here is that they cannot take more than 15 HP. Each turn, and they do have some scaling, so you do want to sort of end the fight as quickly as you can. For this fight though, it's mainly about your ability to block. You know, your starter deck can deal 15 damage in a turn, but it's also being able to deal that damage and block at the same time. Now, we've got a pretty good potion that's going to help us with this, the Dexterity Potion, so I'm just going to use that, giving us 2 extra block from all our block cards. And here we're just going to Falling Star. It's going to make them weak, and then we can actually do the strike and defend, because we can't deal any more damage, so we might as well not take the 1. Right, so here I think we're just fine to play Crush Under, Strike and Patter. Obviously that's going to deal 13 damage, which is not quite the cap. We haven't got the stars to play Astral Pulse, unfortunately. But as I say, it doesn't. This fight isn't about being able to deal the damage, because playing that on its own would have more or less taken us to the damage cap. But here, we can sort of get there anyway with the Patter. So if we play patter first, this is obviously going to give us 9, and this gives us 6, so we get there, and because of our dexterity, we only take 4 this turn. Okay, so this is the buff turn. Fairly straightforward. We're just going to play the cards that deal the most damage and or give us stars. We could consider going Solar Strike, Strike, and the Quasar, but honestly I just want to get to the damage cap and end the fight as quickly as we can. We also get another star now, obviously. And next turn we've actually got some 2 block cards because we know it's the multi-attack coming. Alright, yeah. Turn sort of plays itself, so we can just defend. Do we want a falling star? I think we do, so we don't take the full amount of damage, because we're going to venerate anyway. We're getting 2 stars back. It's also dealing some damage. I'm not going to have it with the patter though. I guess actually that was probably a bit of a mistake. I should have just taken the extra damage there, but it doesn't matter. We don't take any damage from the multi-attack. Alright, so here we haven't drawn any defends. So I am just going to play the spoils so that we've actually got at least 1 block card, hopefully. Okay, that is rather annoying. We don't draw any, so we're just going to have to take, unfortunately, the big hit. We could consider the colourless potion, but there's no guarantee that it's going to give us a block card. So we are going to take 13, unfortunately. We're just going to play Crush Under and Solar Strike. Notice here that we could have had the kill with Astral Pulse, but the Sovereign Blade will do the job next turn anyway. Alright, so our relic's the Cloak Clasp. That's a very nice relic to pick up, gaining 1 block for every card left in our hand. Alright, and then our card rewards. Obviously we've got Guiding Star. I do like this card. Dealing damage and now drawing cards on the turn that you play it. Before it was the turn after. But again, it costs 2 stars and we still haven't upgraded our star generation. So in this instance I actually like the Convergence. And there's 2 reasons for this. Obviously we want the star generation. The energy generation's nice as well. But it also works well with Cloak Clasp, right? So we draw cards, we play this on a turn, and we get essentially more block because we're potentially retaining our hand next turn as well. So yeah, I'm going to pick this up. Alright, the relic we get a lantern, very nice, extra energy at the start. Alright, so at this fire, I think the main candidate that I want to look at upgrading is the Solar Strike, just for the extra star generation. It's going to enable us to play our 0 cost star cards more effectively, right? Because we start with 3, and then now Solar Strike, either playing Solar Strike or Venerate is going to enable us to play 2 of our 3 main costs. So rather than resting, we are going to upgrade Solar Strike. Okay, so obviously the Lantern has given us energy on turn 1, and we've picked up Spoils of Battle with Convergence. So I'm just going to draw the 2, and we also obviously get the Sovereign Blade in play. Right, so we still haven't picked up any block. So we were entirely relying on the Cloak Clasp for block right now. We obviously have Crush Under, which we will be playing, because that's going to reduce their strength. So this will be 4 incoming damage. This will be 8. We could also play Falling Star. Celestial Might, interestingly, will kill one of them this turn. So we could potentially kill this guy. And stun. I think that's probably fine to do. So 24 times 4. And if we play the Crush Under as well, that's going to be... yeah, that's enough on its own. So in that case, we can actually Falling Star and hit this one. Because we know after the stun turn, this will be doing exactly this. It will be doing 9. Obviously, it will be more because of the strength. So yeah, let's just do it like this and hit with the Falling Star. Then we Crush Under. So this is now only 9 for next turn. Alright, so if we can deal 9 to this guy next turn, which we can actually with Sovereign Blade. Yeah, this guy's going to still be stunned. But we can actually Venerate, Astral Pulse and Sovereign Blade. It's a very good fight for us. I'm actually going to swap out King's Courage for an attack potion. Alright, so our card reward, we get offered another Guiding Star, and I think we are sort of in a bit more of a position to pick this one up. Like the 12 damage is very good, draw 2 cards, also very good. That's, you know, Cloak Clasp is helping with it. And because we've now got 3 cards which generate stars, and one of them's upgraded, this is very takeable. Yeah, so I'm going to pick this up. Know Thy Place is also reasonable as well. Alright, so here, what I like to think about is what elite we could potentially be fighting. So obviously we've already fought the Skulking Colony, so we could end up fighting Phantasmal Gardeners or the Terror Eel, because we're in the Underdogs. Now, Phantasmal Gardeners, because we've got the 2 area attacks, I'm not that concerned by. We've also obviously got 2 potions, which is going to help with either fight. But what I do feel like is that we probably are going to take some damage in whichever fight we get, whether it's Terror Eel or Phantasmal Gardeners. And we need to consider our act boss now. So, yeah, I think it's probably just safer to rest, and that's what I'm going to do. So once again, we've drawn the spoils on turn 1. And I do like having the Sovereign Blade being retained in this fight, because we can just essentially, once one of them gets within range, we can finish them off. So I'm just going to start by doing that, because we've got the extra energy. We might as well. We've got 4 cards that we can play, so we might as well draw. Alright, so we've drawn Patter, Convergence off the Forge there. Obviously we've got the Blade ready if we need it. Because we've got this Crush under, we're actually going to not take any damage from the one doing 1/3. 5 damage here, 7 damage here. So that will reduce to obviously 4 and 6. So that would be 10. But we've also got Patter, so we can pretty much guarantee that we don't take any damage because of Cloak Clasp this turn. And I think it's fine to just play the Patter. I'm going to Cloak Clasp. Sorry, not Cloak Clasp. Play the Crush under. That's going to deal 9 damage to all of them. Alright, and I'm actually going to play Convergence, so we just hold on to the cards in our hand. We're going to then pick up 4 block from Cloak Clasp, and we don't take any damage, and we've done damage to all of them. Alright, so turn 2, I think what I'm going to do, obviously we've drawn Celestial Might, so that's going to be able to kill the one that's already buffed their strength, just in a one-shot. I'm also going to use the attack potion to see if we can kill one or, you know, maybe even more of the other ones. So let's just see what we get from the attack potion. Alright, so I think it's just going to be Guiding Star, because this is going to be, we don't have to pay the star cost on it. So we actually get to draw an extra 2 cards. And with the Falling Star, I think that will be enough to kill the one that's attacking for 7. So this will deal 8, and then this will be 18. Yeah, so that will be enough. So I think I'm going to do that first, just to see what we draw. Right, so we get Astral Pulse now as well. So I think it makes total sense to just play the Astral Pulse. If we go Venerate, Astral Pulse is going to deal 14 to all enemies. The question is, do we want to kill this guy first? I'm not sure it makes that much difference. Because we can't kill... Hold on, no, wait, we can. So if we do the Astral Pulse, Guiding Star can finish this one off, and then Celestial Might can kill the one that's probably buffing. And Cloak Clasp is going to do enough block for the 1/3. So yeah, let's just go Astral Pulse. Oh right, we can't. Yeah, we haven't got enough stars. That was a mistake by me, totally misjudged that. So yeah, I guess we're just going to... let's kill the one that's also buffing over here, because I think we'll still full block if we defend afterwards, right? So we'll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so we'll still full block. Actually, no, we won't. So let's just kill the one that we were aiming to kill in the first place. And yeah, it really doesn't matter because we've dealt damage now. Yeah, there was no need for us to take damage here, so yeah, GG. See, we all make mistakes. So right, yeah, we get offered our first rare card, Beat into Shape, which deals 5 damage, and Forge 5, and forges an additional 5 for every other time you've hit this enemy this turn. Yeah, I mean, we have got a Forge card already, but our strategy is leaning heavily into star generation and star use. So it doesn't really fit what we're trying to do. Other options include Glitter Stream, which is just decent 2-cost block card, blocks now and blocks next turn. I'm actually pretty happy to pick that up. But we could also consider Glow. It's another star generating card. It also draws 2 cards, so it draws a card immediately and 1 next turn. So yeah, I think though I'm happy to pick up Glitter Stream here. Just another decent block card in the deck. We're just trying to balance our blocks and attacks, and we've picked up another attack. So let's just go with Glitter Stream. Alright, there's a couple of different ways we could go about this turn 1 against Sea-Punk and the Calcified Cultist. I think here we just need to focus on one. The Sea-Punk obviously attacking us for 13. The Glitter Stream we are going to play. It's going to give us block now and block next turn. And I also think I like just going Convergence and Strike, and we'll hit the Calcified Cultist. Because Astral Pulse plus Celestial Might next turn will defeat it. We could play Astral Pulse now, but then we would take the 1 damage, which we don't need to, because we can still play this next turn. But Cloak Clasp is going to give us the extra damage. If we didn't have Cloak Clasp, then yeah, we probably would just play it. So yeah. But we can actually kill the Sea-Punk this turn if we go Patter, Celestial Might, Astral Pulse, and Strike. And we've then killed that one, and now we've got just 21 to deal, which hopefully we can do. Unfortunately we can't, so yeah, because we've drawn 2 cards with star cost and not a card that generates stars. But that's fine, we're just going to take 1 here. So we'll hit the Calcified Cultist with the Strike. And yeah, that's that turn done. Alright, so these card rewards aren't really going to do that much for us. Like, Cloak of Stars is okay if you've got lots of stars, star generation, and card draw. Just being free 7 block can be very, very good. I don't think we've got that at the moment. Like, we have got a little bit of card draw, but not enough, and we certainly don't have enough stars to play all the star cards that we want to play in a turn cycle. So I'm just going to leave that. Cloak Clasp is doing a great job of blocking for us anyway, in terms of like the extra block it's generated. And these 2 Forge cards simply aren't really what we're looking for. As I say, we're on a star generation, so I'm going to leave that there. Alright, so sort of thinking ahead, I think we definitely have got enough to fight the fish. So here, what I think I like doing is just upgrading a card that's going to give us guaranteed value, right? At the moment, upgrading our star costing cards probably isn't the best idea, because I'm not really fully committed, or not fully committed. I'm a little bit concerned we don't have enough star generation. So with that in mind, we could consider Convergence, just giving us an extra star. Crush Under, reasonable to upgrade as well. So I think you could make a case for either of these. Because we got a lot of 2-cost star cards, I think the Convergence, just that extra 1 star, is probably slightly better in this fight versus the 1 extra damage and 1 loss, strength loss. So yeah, I'm going to just upgrade Convergence. So we've got now 3 cards that generate 2 stars for us. Venerate, Solar Strike, and Convergence. Alright, so we get a Happy Flower next turn. And I honestly don't really see a reason why we don't just play Glitter Stream, Falling Strike, Crush Under, and Strike, just to deal the damage. You know, this is, at the end of the day, it's a damage race. The more longer it goes on, the more of the status cards get put in our deck, and the worse our draws become. So we really need to be trying to get the damage in. Right, I think I am going to use the colourless potion, so let's see what we get. Right, so obviously Scroll and Secret Technique of 1-time boots. That might be worth doing for the Scroll. Just to fill our hand and give us options on this turn. We are struggling a little bit for scaling. So we might want to consider the Catastrophe. Obviously it only deals 2 random cards in the draw pile. The issue with that is we're paying 2 cost to pay 2 cards that cost 2 cost or less. So not necessarily the best one. I'm just going to use the Scroll, mainly because I don't want to redraw this. So yeah, let's just use Scroll, fill up our hand and see what options we get. Okay, so we've drew Convergence. We drew Patter, and obviously we had the Celestial Might. I think in the short term, I am fine to take the HP loss from the Beckons, just to try and get ourselves in a better place in terms of the fight and damage-wise. So I'm just going to play Convergence. We're going to Patter, so we will be full blocking thanks to Cloak Clasp. And then we're going to deal 32 with Celestial Might. We lose 6 HP. Right, so in this fight, I think that the Quasar could be quite good. But I'm just going to Venerate first. And see what we get. Alright, so here I think I like the Discovery, because it could potentially give us a very powerful card that we could play. It could give us a rare card, for example. So let's play the Discovery. And indeed it has given us potential for 2 rare cards. So we've got Guards, which can transform any number of cards in our hand into minion sacrifice. Now that actually helps us deal with some of the status cards. Right, so we could actually transform the Beckons. Unfortunately, we haven't got any of those in our hand right now. So we'd be taking this and saying we're not playing it this turn and then playing it on a future turn, which I don't think is great. Bundle of Joy adds 3 random colourless cards into our hand, and I think that's fine to pick up here. If we had got at least 1 of the status cards in our hand, then Guards would have been the choice. I don't really want Collision Course, just because adding the Debris, we don't really have the time for it, and it's a 0 cost, and we get a free card anyway, so yeah, we might as well. So if we play it now, we're not going to get the benefit from it, because one of the cards will go in the discard pile. So let's just play Strike and then play it. Right, Golden Axe is actually going to help here. Might as well play the Omni Slice for damage. Next turn, we're going to have Solar Strike, defend, defend, so we're able to block. Might as well play the Astral Pulse, given that we're going to get the Solar Strike down next turn as well. And I think I'll just like the Golden Axe here. Let's just deal some damage while we can. And we still block for 7, so we only take 1. Okay, so next turn we get Happy Flower. Obviously we're going to play Solar Strike. I'm happy to play Spoils as well here, just to draw through the deck a little bit more and see what we can play. We could just strike and pass, but I think I'm fine with the Spoils. It also gets us the Sovereign Blade as a potential damage option. And we do indeed draw the Omni Slice, which is obviously very, very good. They're going to be intangible next turn. So we're not going to be able to deal any damage, unfortunately. Okay, so I think we're just going to be fine to play Crush Under, defend, patter, and I guess we just can play the Strike for the 1 damage it's going to deal, but we don't. Okay, so I am just going to Guiding Star. Let's see what we draw. Alright, so we get Quasar again. And I think I like playing the Quasar here. Let's see what colourless cards we could get. So another Golden Axe or Impatience. And I'm fine with picking up another Golden Axe because it's 27 damage right now. And by the time, hopefully by the time we draw the other one, we'll be in a position where we're more or less winning the fight. 2 more status cards going in. So if we prolong this much further, we're going to be in big, big trouble. Okay, so yeah, not a very good turn for us. We've obviously drawn 3 of the beacons. And I don't really see another option other than to just get rid of them all. We block for 3, but we take 25. I think we can set ourselves up for the win next turn. If we play Convergence, let's get the beacon out. Play Patter. Play the Golden Axe. And Prolong. And then we take 3 this turn, but we should get the win. And indeed we do. Okay. Alright, unfortunately, our rare options don't really fit with our sort of strategy that we've gone for so far. Crash Landing fills your hand with debris but deals 21 damage to all enemies for 1 cost. It could be picked up. I think there is certainly times when potentially we could play it when we've got a mostly full hand anyway. We get guards, which we've obviously already seen before in this run. Transforming any number of cards in our hand into minion sacrifice, free block. It would also help to delete some cards that we don't necessarily want in the deck, like we've still got all of our starter cards. So yeah, potentially being able to get rid of some of the strikes and or defends is pretty good. Not, as I say, these aren't the best options. The Smith, I think this is a really weird card because it requires you to both use stars and the big blade, and it forges for 30 and 40. Which I believe that that's going to generate a very large Sovereign Blade. At its base, it's going to be 40 damage, but you still have to then play it, and you also have to generate 4 stars in order to do this. So I just haven't really found this very takeable at the moment. I think it probably might need a little rework potentially, like reduce the star cost, or I don't know how they would go about doing it. But I think the only one I'm really considering is the guards or the Crash Landing. So I think I'm gonna take guards. It's going to be extra block, removing cards that we don't need from the deck. Pale is offering us Pale's Tears, so if we get unspent energy, we gain 2 energy the following turn. Which, it could be useful with Happy Flower and Lantern. We also get Pale's Wing. You may sacrifice card rewards to Pale. Every 2 sacrifices get a relic. This is very powerful. I think the only problem we've got at the moment is that we do want to be taking certainly more cards initially. Like, typically this is a very good bonus to pick up if your deck is mostly made and you are thinking you're going to skip the majority of card rewards. And yeah, I think you do need to consider how many card rewards you're potentially going to be taking over the course of the run. So it's very takeable here. I just think that potentially one of the other 2 is slightly better. Pale's Blood. At the start of your turn, draw an additional card. Now this, I think, is probably my favourite of these. And there's a couple of reasons for it. Obviously, we've got Pale's Tears potentially giving us extra energy, but we've got 2 relics that give us extra energy anyway. So on turn 1, drawing extra energy and drawing another card and having a potential another card to look at for the Lantern is really good. And we've got Cloak Clasp. That's 1 extra block, which I know it sounds silly, but that is significant over the course of a run, right? Every single turn we are blocking 1 more. Think of it like that. So I'm going to pick up Pale's Blood. Right, so I'd sort of marked the path on the map before I did that. And here we've got potential to take on 1, 2, 3 elites, or indeed this one if we were feeling really bold and not wanting to go to this fire, along the left hand side. But we don't necessarily need to make the decisions immediately. Like at this node we can decide whether we want to try and take on this elite, which it's a ways out and we have got the shop before it still, which we will be going to one of these shops guaranteed. We've got 246 gold. We'll have probably in the region of about 270-ish by the time we get there. So we could buy a relic. We can certainly buy a card removal, a card that might really fit with our strategy. So yeah, I just think that this is a very good path because it's got fires, elites, and the shop, which we want. The right-hand side, its main problem is that it doesn't have the shop, in addition to also being very committal. So from this node, we are going this way, and there is no deviation. This is our route. So we're guaranteed to fight all these elites, which might not necessarily be a good thing. If this elite fight went badly, we've then got this one to go after it, right? So, whereas here, if we get to after this fire and we think, hey, we probably aren't strong enough for this elite, we can sort of bail off. It does take in another shop, and it's probably not ideal, but at least it sort of prolongs the run. Okay, so I think on this turn, I think I just like Glitter Stream, Convergence, and Solar Strike. We'll then block for 3 more for Cloak Class, plus the 11 from Glitter Stream. So we do take 1 damage, but we sort of get ourselves set up for next turn, right? Next turn we're going to get 5 block, we're going to get an energy and 2 stars, and we're immediately getting the 2 stars from Solar Strike. So yeah, let's do it like this. Alright, so because we've now got 7 stars, you can see our star generation has started to come together somewhat. We don't need to do any blocking. The tunneler is going to go underground and prepare to deal damage next turn. I think I like just Falling Star into Guiding Star here, so we can deal some good damage. We're going to be dealing 26. And we're also going to draw 2 more cards, and we're able to make a decision and see what we get after that. Alright, so obviously we drew Patter and another Defend. We've got 4 energy left. Here, because they're vulnerable, we might as well just play our 3 strikes for 27 more damage, and then we can play the Patter, which will obviously buff our next attack, and maybe we draw into Celestial Might next turn, who knows? Right, so we do indeed draw into Celestial Might, so there's no reason not to play it here straight away, right? Because we're definitely going to be able to break the Tunneler, and we won't be taking this 26 hit. Just thinking, can we actually get any better than that right now? So next turn we're drawing Guard, Strike, and Defend.
Christian is going to deal 7, that's going to take them to 27, 13. I think we might as well just try and deal maximum damage. So we're going to go Crescendo and Astral Pulse, even though it uses all of our stars. Then being down to 13 means that we potentially can win next turn, and indeed we do. So Crescendo, strike.
Okay, so for our card reward we've got the option of Refine Blade, another Solar Strike or Conqueror. Obviously these two, Refine Blade and Conqueror, don't really synergize very well. The only one that's really worth considering is the Solar Strike. And honestly here I don't think it's worth to add another one. We're doing reasonably okay for star generation for the number of star costs we've got in our deck. And I just think it's not scaling us. At this point in the run, we need to be trying to pick up cards that are going to scale our power and damage. And that this card really doesn't do it at the moment. So maybe we could pick one up later if we had more card draw and other forms of scaling. But at the moment I don't think it's worth it. Alright, so we get one of the more difficult events, the Slippery Bridge. It's trying to remove Glitter Stream, which is obviously one of our best block cards. 11 block now and 5 block next turn. I would actually prefer it to remove another card, so hopefully this will hit one that we don't mind if we click it once. Astral Pulse. Honestly, I think we could potentially let go of the Astral Pulse here. It's a very replaceable card in our deck. It's not exactly 100% necessary for the strategy that we're going for. I'm happier to let that go over Glitter Stream because we've got a lot more damage in the deck, whereas we've only got sort of 3 improved block cards out of the 23. So I'm fine with this one going, and we can pick up a different one potentially later on. Alright, so I think I'm actually going to play it on the safer side, and I'm not going to go after the first elite that I've marked here. Despite us having 2 block related potions, I think we're going to struggle against a couple of the elites, particularly the Entomancer. I think we'd struggle against somewhat. Now that the Astral Pulse has been taken from us, we'd also struggle against the Decimillipede, I think. So I'm just going to go to the safer route. Alright, so this turn what I'm going to do is actually make the Blowbug Rock weak. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that we can then actually full block them. Because if we full block, this guy will be stunned next turn, which is obviously good for us. It gives us a turn off being attacked, and we can focus more on killing the Blowbug egg at the back here. So we'll make this one weak, and because it's vulnerable as well, we might as well play the strike on it, and then we'll just play out the rest of our cards. So we do still take 5 here, but next turn we should be in a position to get the fight under control. Alright, so here I think we're going to try and focus on just killing the front one, the Blowbug Rock. So I'm going to use Guiding Star, and we'll draw 2 cards and see what we get. Alright, so Celestial Might and then Patter is going to finish the Blowbug Rock and also full block. Yeah, might as well just play the Solar Strike. We'll crush under, so we're dealing damage now, and also Patter again, so we're blocking. This turn I think I just like drawing 2 cards and creating the big sword, so we'll do that. Spoils of Battle. And I think this is going to be a win now, if we're just Falling Star, Sovereign Blade. we get offered a black hole here, know thy place and pale blue dot. As we've already got a bit of card draw just from the Pale's Blood, this is probably less important, and I don't think there are actually that many turns at the moment where we're playing 5 cards. So difficult one to make use of, shall we say. But I do like the black hole here. So whenever we spend or gain stars, it deals damage to all enemies. So this is a form of scaling which fits with the deck. So we're going to pick it up. Right, then here we've got a choice between an event and a combat. At this point, I think we still want to take the combat. Just simply because we're still on the lookout for cards to improve the deck before we get further into the sort of second half of Act 2. Here, this is a fight where the black hole is definitely something that we want down. Obviously, there are 4 enemies, so dealing 3 damage to all of them is 12 for every star that we gain, or every time we gain stars or spend stars. So we're going to do that, and then we'll just play the Gitler stream and defend, block for as much of this incoming damage as we can. I think we're still going to take a little bit here. Yeah, so just 3. Okay, so I'm going to start off by playing Guiding Star and drawing 2 cards. Obviously that's also going to deal 3 damage to all of them. I'm going to see if we can try and kill the one that's already buffed itself. Luckily this turn we've got 2 that are buffing, so we sort of get a turn off. Obviously they only take a maximum of 9 damage each time, but it will take 9 and it will also take 3 from the black hole. So here we can just kill this with Celestial Might. And we will full block this one. Hopefully next turn we're able to get some star generation like Solar Strike, Venerate. The Crush Under is also very good in this fight, obviously. Here we can kill the back guy, I believe. So the way to do that is going to be Venerate. It's going to deal 3 damage. Then we're going to Falling Star on the back guy. And then Crush Under will finish the job. So then here we can obviously just play Patter. And we can even strike and hit this guy. And we still full block because of Cloak Clasp. Okay, so the Solar Strike is going to finish the front guy, and Venerate will also do the job there. Okay, I think I do want the Swift Potion over the Fortifier. Alright, so this card reward, we are offered 2 upgraded cards. We get offered a 3rd Patter, which I think simply because, you know, we've already got 2 of them, we don't really want a 3rd, even though it's upgraded. And obviously Wrought in War being upgraded 9 damage and Forge 9, it's not fitting with our strategy, so we can't really take it here. And the Begone, again, we can't really pick that up. We haven't got a lot of synergy. We picked up the guards just because it was the best card, and we haven't played it once yet, so it's sort of just sitting in our hand. So I'm just going to leave all these. Okay, so we're in the shop. And there's a few different options that we could consider here. I think I like the Glimmer being on sale. Just draw 3 cards and then put a card from our hand back on top. Because it's on sale, it's very, very, very viable, shall we say. And we're still looking for more card draw, despite obviously having Pale's Blood and a couple of card draw spells already. I think this will sort of help us get through the deck and find the cards that we want at the right time. We could also consider the Prowess. The problem with the Prowess is it definitely needs its upgrade, just doubling both the strength and dexterity gain. There is also Bag of Preparation, which is also a very, very strong relic. Drawing 2 additional cards on the first turn is very, very good. Potion Belt is here. Could consider picking that up. Just being able to have 2 extra potions with us. Ghost Seed strikes and defends gain Ethereal. This is very much a relic that's aimed towards the Necrobinder, but we could potentially consider it taking it because it will remove obviously some of the worst cards from our deck. The problem is if it exhausts, it's not the strikes, it's the defense. We do still rely on the defense for some of our block, given that we've only got sort of 3 and with guards sort of 4 block cards. So I don't think we're going to consider the Ghost Seed too much here. What I'm looking at is Glimmer and Potion Belt and removing a card here. We've still got all 4. Well, we've still got all of our starter cards, basically, and it is a very good idea to start trimming down, particularly the strikes, because we've upgraded our damage very well. So I just want to remove the strikes. So I'm going to pick up the Glimmer, the Potion Belt, and remove a card here. I potentially would have gone for Bag of Preparation over Potion Belt, but unfortunately we just didn't have the gold to make that work. So yeah, out of the shop. Okay, so we get the Infested Automation, where we can obtain a random power or get a random 0 cost card. So I think it's always good when you get offered this event to check the compendium. And because you can now toggle to see what cards you can actually get. So having already looked at these cards, the 0 cost cards, sort of decided that none of these are actively against what we're trying to do. There's a lot of star cost cards in here, like a Royal Gamble would be really good for us. Obviously Comet, very, very strong. Lots of these cards we'd be happy to have in the deck. However, if we look at the powers, there are some cards that just don't work for us, right? So like Parry just is a card that's in our deck that doesn't really do a lot for us. Furnace does the same. Pillar of Creation isn't particularly good. Seeking Edge, yeah. So there's actually quite a few. The Sword Sage, there's quite a few cards that just don't really help us. So for that reason, I'm gonna pick the 0 cost card. All right, so we get Collision Course. Obviously, we've seen this card already on the run. Just deals 11 damage for 0 cost and no star cost, so it is actually a reasonable pickup. Bit of extra free damage. All right, so I think now is the time for us to upgrade Crush Under, and there's 2 main reasons for this. This is a good card against 2 of the 3 elites. I mean, it's good against all of them in a way, but it's especially good against the, obviously, Decimillipede because it hits all the enemies and it reduces their strength by 2. But it's also good against the Entomancer because of their large attack that attacks multiple times. So yeah, it would just reduce their strength and more or less completely negate that turn in terms of damage coming in. So I think this is definitely the upgrade we're going to go with. Alright, so we get the relic, the Blood Vial, which is actually very good for us. We haven't got a health regenerating relic yet. Alright, so on our first turn here, we do get the Entomancer as our elite fight. Obviously Celestial Might isn't particularly great here because for every hit we are going to get an extra Dazed in the draw pile. We could consider using our potions, but honestly I think I'm fine for this turn just to play Glitter Stream, get the Black Hole in play. That's going to be important damage for us, and also defend. So we are going to be taking 8 here. Sorry, we'll be taking 5 because of Cloak Clasp. And then we can consider perhaps using the Swift Potion next turn when we've got Happy Flower. Turn 2, we're being attacked for 20. I think I like going with the Falling Star, potentially, but I think we might want to Glimmer first to see what we can draw. We could really use with a star generating card. Okay, so we've got Solar Strike. I think I'm fine to put the Crush Under back. We can then Solar Strike, so it makes them vulnerable and weak and also deals 3 damage. Solar Strike, 15 damage. And then I think we're just happy to Venerate and Patter. Although it might be better actually just to play Guiding Star. Just trying to get the damage in now. Yeah, I think if we just Venerate here, just get our stars back. Alright, so we've done a third of the damage we need to do. We're going to be taking 5 damage here. And then next turn is the turn that he's going to buff, so we really want to be able to deal some damage next turn. So we don't actually draw that much damage. And now they're buffing so that we'll end up having 2 dazed in the draw pile for every attack. Obviously we've got 5 cards. So I think here it's actually quite important that we don't put any more dazed in. Obviously we've got 2 in there already. Because we want to draw through the rest of our deck, at least next turn. So this turn I think I'm just going to play Convergence, and I'm going to Quasar and see if we can make a useful card. Okay, so we could play Thinking Ahead here, because we could then potentially draw 2 of the dazed, or at least some of the days potentially, and put 1 back. Yeah, okay, so that's fantastic for us, and that's going to actually draw us through naturally next turn without having to use a potion, as long as obviously we don't play the strike, but we're not going to play the strike here, so yeah. This is sort of a turn where it's really showcasing the fact that our deck isn't necessarily that powered at the moment, because we've just drawn 4 of our starter cards. Here though I am just going to play the spoils. We've got an extra energy, so we're going to be able to draw 2 more cards, and obviously we'll get the sword in hand, so we'll go up. Alright, so still not the best. I'm considering potentially using Ship in the Bottle here, just to do some of this blocking, because obviously we're staring down 32 damage. This would have been a great turn for us to have Crush under. Unfortunately we haven't drawn it at the right times. I'm just going to Quasar and see what card we get. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so it's obviously going to be Dark Shackles here. Just completely negate all that damage. We don't have to worry about taking damage now. So in fact we can just deal some of our own and play Solar Strike. Guess we play Collision Course. We can also exhaust the debris. And I think I will play the Patter here, just to get the extra vigour rather than the defence, because obviously now we are getting 2 dazed in the draw pile for every hit it takes. Luckily this turn we haven't drawn many dazed, which we could have done, and I think we have actually drawn a win. So if we play Falling Star, makes them weak, and then we can play Patter, and Celestial Might is going to deal 48. Oh, wait a second. I was banking on being able to play Guiding Star afterwards. So we might have to consider using one of the other potions here. I guess actually we don't, because we've got the Sovereign Blade in hand, which will win next turn. Alright, GG. Okay, Akabeko. So we gain 8 Vigour at the start of each combat. That could be very good with the Celestial Might if we're able to get that in hand. For our card reward, we actually get offered another upgraded Celestial Might. And I think here I'm actually fine, and simply because we've picked up Akabeko, that combined with the fact we've got 2 Patter is actually going to really help enable this card to deal a lot of damage, so I am going to pick this one up. If we'd have found a better star generating card, then we probably would have considered that over it, but obviously Radiate is designed for decks that can produce a lot of stars on one turn, which we can't really. You know, I think the most we can make on a single turn is 4. Well, potentially 6 with Convergence being played the turn before. So obviously, and that's very niche, like we're not able to get that off every time. So I think just picking up Celestial Might is going to improve our damage output. Alright, so this turn, I think we're definitely going to play Convergence. We can consider playing Guards as well, which I think we probably will do, but I'm also going to play Quasar and see what card we get before we make any more decisions. We get offered Automation, Rolling Boulder and Mind Blast. I think Rolling Boulder is a fine card, and if we were in a boss fight here, if we were against the demon, I would definitely be picking this up. I think just the damage overall, turn on turn, is really going to help get through that fight. But because we're just against the giant louse here, this fight really should be over before this can really sort of get going. And it also costs 3, so in order for us to play it, we would just be saying we're going to take damage this turn, which I don't really want to do with without having to play a potion. So the considerations are Mind Blast, which is just going to immediately deal 19 damage, which is obviously pretty good, and Automation, which gives us an extra energy for every 10 cards drawn. Because we've got a fair bit of card draw, I think this is also a fine pickup, just being able to play extra cards. But I think I will go with Automation. Like, it's very, you know, you could make a case for either, but I'm just going to play the Automation. Also going to play Convergence, and I am going to transform all these cards because we can play one of them, and thanks to the Convergence we actually hold the other 2, and Cloak Class will block the other damage coming in. Alright, so we haven't drawn one of the Celestial Mights, which I was hoping we would, because we've still got Akabeko as a potential charge, but we could still draw it. So let's actually start with Spoils. Okay, still not drawn it, unfortunately, so I think we'll just have to accept that we are going to have to just lose the Akabeko charge to one of the others. We could draw again in a second. In fact, I think we can do that because we'll get our energy back with the Glimmer. So I'm just going to Venerate. We really need to empty our hand a bit though in order to make this work. So let's play one of the minion sacrifices and the defend and just draw. Okay, so we have got a Celestial Might now. I'm gonna put back the minion sacrifice, I guess. That's gonna do some blocking for us next turn. Here we see Akabeko Celestial Might 14 times 4. It's a huge amount of damage. And yeah, there's no point playing any of the other cards, but we've done close to half their hit points on that turn. So obviously the Louse Progenitor has got a large amount of block this turn, so we can just also do some blocking and hopefully get some damage in next turn, where we've got an extra energy from the Automation. So this turn obviously we have our Vigor charge, so I think we do want to play Celestial Might. So let's start with that. I also think it's worth to draw 2 cards with the Guiding Star here. I think here we can also now just defend. And then we block for 6 more. We could consider the Collision Course. In fact, we might as well, because it's going to put another card in our hand. And we probably won't see that card again. Okay, yeah, so Falling Star and Celestial Might. So for our card reward, we get offered an Alignment, Pater, Supermassive. Supermassive obviously is not a good card in this deck, realistically. We have got Guards, Collision Course, and the Spoils, which make cards, but generally speaking, this isn't going to hit for much more than 15 at the very most, I would have thought. So yeah, we've got cards that are already better. I like the Alignment here, just it is another star cost card, and obviously we lost the Astral Pulse, so we've only got a couple of star using cards at the moment, and we've got plenty of generation, so we can make this work for the extra energy. And in addition, we've also got the card draw, right? So between Pale's Blood, Convergence, obviously also sort of pseudo card draw, Glimmer, and the Spoils of Battle, we can make use of extra energy quite consistently, as we've seen with the Happy Flower. We are going to take on this elite here, and at the moment we've got enough HP, I think, to get through that fight, obviously with 2 decent potions that we can use to protect us. I would personally rather see the Millipede fight than the Infested Prism, because I think we would do better in that fight. And I think our upgrade here is just going to be the Black Hole. Just get that to deal 4 damage to all enemies every time we gain or spend stars. Seems pretty reasonable. Okay, so we do indeed find the Decimillipede as the elite. Here, obviously, we've drawn a low damage hand. We've got guards to do potentially the majority of our blocking against this. Obviously, we're staring down 16, 28 damage potentially. I think in this scenario, though, that it's really important that we get Black Hole in play. So to give ourselves the best chance of doing that, I am just going to use the Swift Potion here to see if we can draw into it now. Obviously, unfortunately, we didn't draw into Black Hole here. This is still a reasonable turn for us. I think we're just going to start off. I like to try and kill the one that's buffing their strength. Unless you can outright kill the multi-attacking one on the first turn, and then hopefully, you know, if your damage is high enough, you can deal with the other 2 relatively quickly. Otherwise, this fight is about managing their HP to more or less decline at the same time, so that you're able to finish them off on 1 turn. So with that in mind, I am going to spread the damage out a little bit here. So I'm going to Solar Strike the first front guy. We're then going to Collision Course the back guy. And then here I'm just going to play the Patter and actually play Guards, because Guards is able to convert both Ascender's Bane, the Debris, we don't really want this Strike, and this Defend into useful block cards for us. So we can just play 2 of those, and we will full block. Might as well leave these floating around, even though we won't actually see them again, most likely. We've drawn a very low block hand, so I think it's probably very likely that we use the ship in the bottle here. We can actually kill the front guy, but then the problem is we're not going to be, I doubt very much that we're going to be able to kill both of these guys before it regenerates. So what I'm actually thinking is I'm probably just going to get the Black Hole in play. And we will fall in star. Hit this front guy because he's multi-attacking, and that's going to reduce the incoming damage. I then think I'm just going to play Spoils of Battle, because I would really like to draw Crush Under here, potentially. Or indeed another one of our block cards would be great. Okay, so we did draw some block, but they were both defense, unfortunately. So we are definitely using Ship in the Bottle here. And we'll just play a defend and pass the turn. This turn, obviously we've got the 10 block from Ship in the Bottle, which is helping us hugely here. We've also drawn Crush Under, so I think it's just going to be Crush Under. We're going to play Glitterstream and Convergence. Obviously we'll hold our hand, and we will more or less block all the incoming damage. And next turn, hopefully, we should be able to at least get this fight very much under control. Yep, so just taking 1. So this turn, we are able to kill the front guy with just 2 triggers from Black Hole by spending
or gaining any stars. So we don't need to worry about the 9 attack coming in. I think we're also probably going to easily be able to kill the back guy as well. Obviously they're going to take also the 8 from the black hole, so 17 HP we should be able to deal with relatively easily. And then hopefully next turn we'll be able to just finish off the middle guy. Yeah, so we might as well, I guess here, I'm going to play Quasar first to see what we get. Alright, so in this instance I'm actually going to pick up Secret Technique, because we can actually then go and fetch Alignment. So we've got more energy to spend on this turn. Obviously because we've got Venerate, we can play this essentially for free because we're going to get the energy back. Okay. Right, so Guiding Star hitting the back guy will kill that immediately, and then I think we can just win this turn with double Celestial Might. Indeed. Alright, we get Strength Potion and we get Nunchaku. That's extra energy for us, so we're doing pretty well between Happy Flower, Lantern and Nunchaku. So interesting choice for our card reward. We could potentially pick up Spoils of Battle, just another draw 2, and it will increase the output of the Sovereign Blade by 5. We could get our Astral Pulse back, although I don't think we're struggling for area damage, particularly now we've got the upgraded black hole, so it's not necessarily needed. I think I like the second Convergence here though. It's just more star generation. Now that we picked up Alignment, that is effectively free energy, and it's also energy on the following turn, right? So yeah, I just think second Convergence probably the best of those. Alright, so we get the Potion Courier event. We could potentially grab 300 potential gold if we're able to carry these potions into Act 3. Or we could just pick up a random uncommon potion. And I think overall, I like just taking the potential 300 gold. It will sort of definitely, obviously 300 gold is a lot of gold to be spending in a shop. And potentially carrying that into Act 2. I think the Strength Potion, plus the deck and the build that we've got at the moment is probably going to be enough to get us through the Knowledge Demon. And I'll definitely be using the Strength Potion there. So I'm fine to pick up the 3 Foul Potions, and it's actually even better because we picked up the Potion Belt, so we can actually take all 3. And obviously in a pinch, if we really need to, we can deal 36 damage. Just exactly enough to kill us right now. Going into this fight with the Strength Potion, I think we're fairly safe to just upgrade here. There is sort of an argument to play it on the safer side and rest to get 22 HP. Obviously, it would take us up to 60 with the Blood Vial healing us as well, which would make the fight very, very safe. But I think we're actually fine just to upgrade a card, and I'm just going to pick up the upgrade on Convergence as well, just for the extra star, and in we go. So our first turn's fairly straightforward. We have indeed finally managed to draw one of the Celestial Mites on turn 1, so we're going to get the Akabeko trigger. We've also got a Patter in hand, so we might as well play that, even though obviously we're not being attacked. We haven't got any other cards that we really want to play with our 4 energy, so we might as well play it. Obviously we are going to use the Strength Potion, so actually our Celestial Mite does 18 times 4, which is obviously pretty good damage on turn 1, 72. And then here I think we're just going to play Collision Course, and rather than playing the Strike I'll get rid of the Debris, because I think we probably will cycle through the deck at least once in this fight, so 8 damage versus drawing a bad card for us later on. And here, because we've got Pale's Blood, I'm fine to draw 1 fewer card each turn, so that takes us to the normal amount of draw. This turn not so good, however, but I guess we can just get set up with Black Hole, defend, and we'll strike. The alignment not doing much this turn. So here, I think we definitely have to play Crush Under. It's going to reduce our incoming damage by 6. So we've obviously got to play that. And then I think we just play Glitter Stream. So we still take a little bit of a bump here. We take 7. So this turn, I think I just like playing the Guiding Star to draw 2 cards. Let's see what happens first. And now I think because we've got the Celestial Might in the draw pile, and we will draw it next turn, I'm happy just to play the Convergence and Patter. We do full block this turn. Unfortunately, the Knowledge Demon gains strength and heals. So this turn, obviously, we have got the Vigor charge, but I think it's probably better, well, it is definitely better, to play Falling Star to make them vulnerable. So this will be 12 by 4 rather than 10 by 4 right now, so we'll definitely be playing Falling Star first. Obviously, we've got 5 energy, thanks to Happy Flower triggering. And I think what we're going to actually end up doing is playing the Convergence again, just sort of chaining this off to get star generation, and also holding on to the guards, because this is going to be able to delete some of the cards we don't want in our deck, like the bad draws, like the 2 strikes, for example, that are still in the draw pile, and certainly the one that's in our hand. But first I'm just going to play Venerate and Quasar to generate a card and see what we can make. So here, because we've got Glimmer in our hand where we can draw extra cards, we might as well pick up the Production for the extra energy generation on this turn. So let's just do all that before we decide what we're going to play in terms of attacks. Right, I'm going to put the Strike back on top because we will be holding the guards, and we can turn that into a useful card next turn. So here, with our 5 energy, I'm going to play the Falling Star followed by Celestial Might and Solar Strike, and then double Convergence. So we get 2 stacks of the Retain. So yeah, we'll just be essentially holding on to as many of the cards as we can. So yeah, Falling Star into Celestial Might. Then we'll Solar Strike, play Convergence and Convergence. So we'll have a lot of energy next turn, and we've got the spoils to draw more cards. We are going to have to pick the 7 damage now, because we definitely want to be playing more than 3 cards each turn. So that just totally makes sense. So here, obviously, we've drawn a lot of the cards that we wanted to draw, but next turn, we've still got this sort of 6 cards, 4 defends and 2 strikes, which are really bad for us. So I'm just going to start off with the draw 2 and forge 5. Okay, that's great, because now we've got 2 of the bad cards out of the deck. And we can convert those into minion sacrifice this turn. In terms of what we're actually going to play, we're definitely obviously going to play Collision Course. Crush Under is going to reduce income damage. Collision Course definitely, because this debris can be passed into, turned into a minion sacrifice, which we're going to hold because we're still retaining our hands. Nunchaku has gone off, so we get our extra energy back. And then yeah, here we can actually play Celestial Might, and then we will play... actually, is it better to play Glitter Stream? Because next turn we can turn more of the bad cards into minions. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. So we'll play Glitter Stream. We do take 9. But yeah, this turn we are able to turn some of these bad cards into good cards. So we might as well just do that first, I guess. Let's play the guards. Let's get rid of the strikes. Let's get rid of this defend and this debris. I'm going to hold 1 defend. That's fine. I'm also going to play the alignment. We might as well. We've got 7 stars. So that's going to enable us to play 2 patters. So we're taking 36 from the Knowledge Demon, but we're also taking 7 from Disintegration, so we need to block for 43 as a minimum. So playing the 2 minion sacrifice there will do that. Yeah. Alright, so this turn we're just going to start off with the Guiding Star and draw 2 cards, see what we get. This turn, obviously, we're getting to the point where we really need to start thinking how are we going to finish this fight. We're still quite a ways off with 125. We do still have to block 16 and 7, so we need to block 23, which we can do, but equally we can't deal that much damage this turn, unfortunately, so I'm just going to Solar Strike. That's obviously going to deal 16. We'll play out the 2 defense and the minion sacrifice that's in our hand still, and we're still going to take a bit of a hit here. Yeah, so we just take 1. This turn I think it's definitely going to be Convergence. Obviously we're going to get another debuff. I'm going to look and see what Quasar can make for us first before we make any further decisions though. Okay, so obviously beat down and internal armor we can't really do because we want to play Convergence to hold on to some of our cards. But I am happy with Shockwave. This is going to help with the damage. The reason I was thinking is we're going to need to hold Falling Star, which we're still going to do, but we're going to Shockwave first. Play the Convergence, so next turn we're going to get stars and energy. We've got some decent cards in our hand for next turn, so hopefully we're going to be able to get very close to a kill. We're going to have to pick up the 8 damage, unfortunately, because we definitely don't want 1 less energy. Because we've got alignment here, the first thing I'm going to do is play the spoils to draw 2 more cards. So we are very close to just getting the win here. We know we're going to draw Celestial Might next turn and they will still be vulnerable. So I think having the Patter, which will mean that would deal 10. 10 by 4, and then obviously with them being vulnerable, so that's 15 by 4. So we can deal 60 next turn as a minimum. We can definitely deal some good damage this turn. So I've worked out that if we play Venerate and Alignment, we're then going to play Glitter Stream, Falling Star, and we're also going to Crush Under to reduce their incoming damage, and then play the Patter and Collision Course. So we are blocking for 24 and the incoming damage is 31, right? So we take 7 damage overall, but we're still alive. I miscalculated, I didn't play them in the right order to get the Patter trigger for this turn, but we're actually fine because that's 48 plus Sovereign Blade being 33, so that's 81, right? GG. Right, getting Dexterity Potion there's nice. So for our card reward we're offered another Guards, which I don't think we'll be picking up. Some consideration between Decisions and Arsenal. And honestly, of these two, I genuinely think that Arsenal is probably going to be a good card for us. We've got Quasar, which makes a card, Collision Course makes a card, and obviously Guards makes a card. And it will work with any potions that we pick up that create cards as well. So this could be the sort of scaling that we need to defeat the end game, basically. Decisions is a good card. The problem with it is it's 6 stars. And honestly, when I looked at the deck, I was thinking, what skill would we want to play 3 times? And it sort of came down to Convergence being the one that's really going to make the most difference. And even then, it's not going to make a huge amount of difference. Like, we'll get a ton of energy and a ton of stars from it on the following turn and retain our hand for several turns, but Arsenal is definitely the best scaling here, so that's the pickup. Alright, so Tanks is offering us 3 very takeable options. Generally speaking, the throwing axe, the first card you play, each combat is played in an additional time. We could potentially make Arsenal innate and have the option to have, whenever you create a card, gain 2 strength, which is obviously going to be very, very good. We can transform up to 6 cards into Maul, which is a 1-cost attack that deals 5 damage twice and increases the damage of all Maul cards by 1 this combat. Obviously, this works very well with Akabeko. It also works very well with Vigor, and potentially the strength gain that we've got going on. So this actually does synergize well, and it removes some of the bad cards from our deck, like the final 3 strikes would also go as a result of this. Cook, we can remove 2 cards from your deck and gain 9 max HP at a rest site. So this is actually an action that you need to take at the rest site, so it would remove the ability to upgrade. Of these, I think the most takeable for me is the claws. Just transforming the bad cards in our deck into useful ones is probably going to be very powerful, and also we've got things that it works with already, right? We want to play attacks because of an Nunchaku. Akabeko, turn 1, obviously those mauls now suddenly are going to be dealing 13 twice, which is obviously very, very good. For 1 energy, 26 damage. And it provides inbuilt scaling with them as well. So yeah, I'm going to pick this up, and the cards I'm going to transform, I'm going to do 4 strikes, the 3 strikes and a defend. I am actually going to replace Falling Star in this instance, and I'm also going to replace one of the Celestial Mites because they sort of fulfill the same role. Notice that because we've picked an upgraded card, that card is also upgraded. So that's the way more works. If I picked upgraded cards, so say if I picked the Solar Strike, Black Hole, Convergence, if I picked any of these, I would get all upgraded cards. But here, yeah, I'm just happy to take the ones that we've got, get these upgraded, potentially. Yeah, I think this is a massive upgrade for the deck. In terms of route planning, obviously we've got these 3 potions that we want to throw at a merchant for 300 gold. So there's 2 shops very early on, which is very nice to see. And then of the rest of the act, the actual best route that I can see is this way. To go to this fire, and then we can take on this elite and finish up somewhere up this way. Okay, so we still take the 2 elites. And most importantly, we're going to get to the shop, and we're going to have sort of over 500 gold to play with in the shop, which is obviously very, very nice. Right, so turn 1 against the Devoted Sculptor. We can play Arsenal. We have drawn it. And then we can also, obviously, we've got 2 mauls. Akabeko charge is going to deal some good damage. We get a proc from Nunchaku this way, which means we can actually play Solar Strike and the Convergence in addition. Right, so turn 2. I think we are just going to play Patter and the Maul. Just getting that Vigor charge. So we need to block for sort of 6 here. So I actually like going with Crush Under and then Glimmer, so we can set up next turn. Okay, let's put the guards back on top so that we can make some strength, make some minion sacrifice and gain some strength. Okay, nice. So this is really good that we've got Collision Course and guards in hand. So we can play Collision Course, that gains us a strength. We can also play Spoils of Battle to draw some more cards here, and I think we will do that. That's obviously made us another strength as well because of Sovereign Blade. Then here we can actually play the alignment. We're then going to transform 1, 2, 3 cards into minion sacrifice, and that gains us a strength for each one, so we've now got 5 additional strength. Oh, we should have done it on the debris as well, that was a mistake. We'll play out all these, and then we can maul and celestial might, and that is this fight more or less done. Right, so there we go. Here I think I'm happy to pick up the energy potion in place of the dexterity potion, and the simple fact is that we don't actually have that many block cards in the deck at the moment, so the dexterity potion isn't going to do that much for us anyway, whereas an extra 2 energy on any given turn could be very good. I think we're fine for any of these cards. We could consider any of them in some scenarios. The parry probably not, because we only play the Sovereign Blade very occasionally, and actually now that we've got Arsenal, we're more inclined to, after we've made it, turn it into a minion sacrifice. So yeah, I think we'll just skip all these and move on. Okay, so this is the mini merchant, who's going to offer us some smaller versions of relics. I believe the foul potion does not work on this guy, so we are obviously going to a real shop after this, but we'll see what he's got to offer. Alright, so of these, I think the only ones that we really want to consider taking are potentially the Mango and get 3 max HP. I think that's pretty good. And also the Blood Vial. Honestly, of all these smaller versions of the relics that you see here, I think the Blood Vial is one of the best. Because it only reduces by 50% from the 2 we heal, and it will stack with the one we've got, so we actually heal 3 at the start of each combat, which is going to be very good for us. Orichalcum obviously it's decent if you're starting out with it, but we are generating more block than 3. And honestly, if you end your turn without any block and you only gain 3 this late in the game, you're not going to be surviving very long. The Anchor is a reasonable one, just starting each combat with 4 block, but I think over the course of a run, the Blood Vial is one of the best. So I'm definitely going to pick that one up. And I'm also going to pick up the Mango. I think 43 gold for 3 max HP is a reasonable trade. And we don't need to take any of the rest. The only card that the Strike dummy works with is Solar Strike, because obviously we've removed all of our strikes, our base strikes, and turn them into mauls. So I'm just going to leave the rest of these, and we'll be going on to the shop with about 400 gold now because of the 3 foul potions, which we'll throw now. Okay, so in the shop we are offered various things. Interestingly, we got the miniature tent, which if we'd have chosen the cook option instead of the mauls would have enabled us to essentially do the cook option, upgrade a card and rest, so that would have been good, but obviously we didn't go down that route, so probably not going to pick up the miniature tent in this case. I do like the 2 block cards that we're offered here. We've got Manifest Authority, so it adds a random colourless card to our hand, which obviously synergizes with the Arsenal. Just another way of creating cards. We've got Reflect, and this card I think is probably going to get nerfed at some point in the future. I'm not sure how. I just think that the blocked attack damage reflected back to the attacker is extremely powerful for the amount of block you get for 1 energy and 3 stars. So I think any deck that's got some star generation wants one of these. And then I think actually what we can do, because we're adding 2 block cards, is remove one of the defense. We've upgraded our blocking ability, and then we'll see what gold we've got left. Alright, so 155, and actually what I think we're going to do with that is just buy Gigantification Potion, which is actually going to be a really powerful potion for being able to defeat bosses in particular. Just having 1 attack that can deal, multiple hundreds of damage potentially can be really powerful. So I'm going to pick that up, and also the Draw Potion, just to spend the rest of our gold. I don't think we want any of the other cards. Orbit is a consideration, but I think between the energy generation that we've got, Nunchaku, Happy Flower, Lantern, and obviously our 2 convergence cards, making us energy. We've also got an energy potion. We don't necessarily need this, and it would just be another card that we need to play, need to get into play in order to for the deck to work. So yeah, I think we'll just go Gigantification, Swift Potion, and we've spent nearly all of our gold, just 2 left, and we can move on. Okay, so this turn we're obviously just going to play the block cards out, and then I think what we'll probably end up doing, we're going to be taking 26 here at the moment, so we can play Collision Course, just get rid of the debris, and we'll block for 23, so we do take 3 damage. Alright, so I think here we're likely to use the energy potion, but let's just play Arsenal and Spoils to draw 2 cards and also gain a strength. Okay, so I think it's very likely we're going to use the energy potion here, but I'm just going to play Glimmer first to see what we can draw. Alright, so we can actually just full block and also deal some damage back with Reflect here, and I don't see any reason why we wouldn't just do that. Because it's going to deal 20 damage to the turret operator, because we are just going to full block. Again, like this card just showing its power here, and we don't need to play any of our use any of our potions. So here I think I'm just fine to play the Black Hole. Let's get that in play because we're in a multi-enemy fight. I think Convergence and Patter, and we full block. Alright, so first here I think we're just going to play the Quasar, see what we make. Alright, well, Dramatic Entrance seems pretty good in this fight. We can also now play Guards, and that's going to make some more cards for us. We're just going to get rid of some of these cards. I don't think we need the Manifest Authority now. Right, now that's 5 strength. So we're going to get an energy from Nunchaku here. So Dramatic Entrance, and then this Maul. And the Solar Strike and Maul gets the win. Alright, so our card rewards were offered Begone, which we can add another transforming card into our hand. Obviously we have got Arsenal, which is going to make this a much better card in general. But honestly I don't feel like the deck needs it right now. We seem to be winning fights relatively comfortably, and the deck is working quite well, so we don't necessarily need it. We also could consider another Quasar, but again I don't think it's necessarily needed. The deck is doing just fine on its own, and the same with Refined Blade. We wouldn't have taken that card anyway. So yeah, moving on. Alright, so these two is a particularly nasty fight, but I think as long as we're able to kill the Lost relatively quickly so we can get all of our strength back, we can probably deal with the Forgotten as well. So first off, obviously we've got 5 energy, so we might as well draw some cards and see what we find. Okay, so because neither of them are attacking this turn, and we haven't actually got a way other than the spoils to make a card, I'm actually going to put that Arsenal back. Obviously we get Celestial Might with the Akabeko charge, so it's 14 by 4. So I don't see any reason not to just play that out, right? Because that is 56 damage for 2 energy, which is obviously more than half of this guy's HP, so we might as well just play that out. And then honestly, let's just play the Mauls. So he's more or less down on turn 1, and hopefully we'll be able to get the kill next turn despite the 2 strength loss. Alright, I think again we could consider using a potion this turn. Possibly the energy potion, but I am just going to play Black Hole because that's always going to deal 4 damage every time we gain or spend stars. I'm also going to draw 2 with the Guiding Star, see what we get. Okay, I think I will use the Energy Potion here, just so that we don't take any damage. I'm absolutely fine with doing that against these two. This can be a pretty nasty fight. So yeah, the way we're going to do it is use the Energy Potion. We're actually going to play Arsenal. And then Collision Course. And then we can transform the Debris, Venerate, and Defend. Might as well actually transform the Quasar here as well, just so that we have enough to full block against the Forgotten. And then, so again, now he's going to try and steal some more of our dexterity, but because we've got our strength back, we should be absolutely fine just to play out the mauls. We're going to get an energy back here from Nunchaku, so we might as well play the Solar Strike and then Convergence. Okay, so yeah, we've drawn a lot of block on the turn that we need it, I guess. We're going to play the Reflect, just because we're going to be able to deal damage back. If we play Crush Under, that's going to reduce the incoming damage by quite a bit. Manifest Authority, we probably should have played that the other way around, just to gain the strength before. But honestly, it doesn't really matter. We made an Anointed, which again, we don't really need. So here, instead of playing the Glitter Stream, I'm just going to play Patter twice. And that will be that. GG. So, our card reward. We got offered Gather Light, which earlier on in the run I would more than definitely pick that up. But honestly, at the moment, I feel like we've got enough star generation for the amount of star costs that we've got. It's rare at the moment where we don't have the ability to play a card because we haven't got the stars. And Cosmic Indifference, because it's upgraded as well, is also going to help us to get back cards potentially that create stars for us. So yeah, I just like the ability to put a card from the discard pile back on top of the draw pile and then be able to play it in the following turn. Seems very, very strong, and also 9 block for 1 energy is not insignificant. So, right, so here at Fire, I think there's a very strong contender for the upgrade, and that is Arsenal, just making that innate, so that we could essentially get that in straight away. It is the only power we have that is absolutely necessary, I feel, particularly for the 2 boss fights that are coming up. We could potentially consider another upgrade, but honestly I just think if we've got this in the opening hand, we can choose to play it or not. So yeah, that's going to be the choice. Right, we get the Candelabra, which is even more energy for us. So again, as I said before, we're not really struggling for energy, and that's just going to help even further, enabling us to end fights quicker because of that extra energy. Okay, so we get a bonus shop, and we've got 55 gold, so the chances are we can probably only afford a potion. Or one of 2 cards. The card that's on sale is Begone, which we've already seen. Or we can take a skill potion or dexterity potion. I'm fine just picking up the skill potion here. Notably, the fact that this creates a card, it's going to work with Arsenal as well. So that's just 1 strength and whatever a free skill we can get from it. So let's see what the elite is. Alright, so yeah, on turn 1 against Soul Nexus here, I think we're obviously going to play Arsenal. That's very good card for us. We can also block for 18 with the double patter, and because we've got a maul in our hand with the vigor charge of now 12 combined with Akabeko, we might as well play this out for 34, and we will block for 20 and take 11, but I think it's reasonable. You know, you need to expect to take at least a little bit of damage in the majority of elite fights. Alright, this turn is looking pretty good because we've picked up Reflect, and Soul Nexus is trying to do a multi-attack against us. Obviously we've got 6 energy thanks to the Candelabra and Happy Flower going off this turn, so we might as well Glimmer first and see what we draw. Okay, let's put the Defend back on top, I think. So yeah, here I think it's fairly clear. We are definitely going to play the Reflect. I think Crush Under is also going to help reduce the incoming damage as well. Yeah, so now it's only 20. And I think we can just play Maul and Convergence here, just holding on to these cards. We don't spend all of our energy, and but we do full block, so we will be dealing 20 damage back, and we will get that energy back next turn. Alright, so this turn I'm going to play the Black Hole out. Just now we're dealing a little bit extra damage every time we gain or spend our stars. I'm going to play the Solar Strike to get 2 stars, and that enables us to play Alignment. And then here we could just play Manifest Authority. Okay, so we get Finesse. I'm actually going to play that. There's no reason not to. And then here, I think we're just going to play Guards. And I'm happy to transform all of these. We can play them all. And we can also nearly full block. I'm going to hold that 1. Alright, so I think we're potentially facing the multi-attack again next turn, so I think I probably want to put Reflect back on top. So Cosmic Indifference can do that for us. Yeah, we can then also actually just play out Spoils and Convergence. We will also play Collision Course, gain a strength and deal some damage. So yeah, we're blocking for 15, taking 90, so we just take 4. Okay, so we are indeed seeing the multi-attack here. Alright, so this turn, obviously we've got 3 stars and 5 energy, and we're always just going to start with Quasar here, because I think we're definitely going to play Venerate and Reflect anyway. Obviously, we want to gain and spend stars, just to deal that additional 4 damage from the Black Hole. And this also is going to create a card that we might want to use, so let's have a look. Okay, so yeah, I think we are going to take the Secret Weapon here, because that's going to enable us to go and fetch the Crush Under, which is going to reduce their strength by 2, so obviously reducing the incoming damage. We are going to be able to get another energy from Nunchaku here, so yeah, I just think we're just going to do that straight away, so we might as well Crush Under and play this Maul, so we get our energy back. We are then going to Venerate and play Reflect. Yeah, and then I think all we probably need to do is just play Glitter Stream, and then we're full blocking. And we should more or less have the win now, because 28 damage is going to be dealt back. So we get the win because Maul is 24, and then the second Maul is 26. Alright, we pick up Galactic Dust as the relic. For every 10 energy, 10 stars spent, gain 10 blocks. So that's actually really good for us in terms of getting and spending stars. So with that in mind, we could actually consider the Gathering Light here as another method of gaining stars and also adding block. A second Glitter Stream, even though it's upgraded, I think is unnecessary. We don't necessarily always have the energy to spend on it. I think this is takeable, but honestly I don't really feel like we need it. As you saw in that fight, we're blocking the majority of damage. We did take a little bit, but I think the amount of damage that we took is indicative of the fact that is a hard elite fight, the Soul Nexus. And I also think that with the sustain that we've got with the Blood File and the Mini Blood File, we've got 2 rest sites. We'll be fine going forward, so I don't think we need any more block in the deck. I think Manifest Authority is a pretty good consideration because the upgraded colourless card in our hand, there are several colourless cards that when upgraded reduce their energy cost. So obviously that it could be potential energy saving for us as well. I do think I like just upgrading one of the mauls though. Like we've already got one of them upgraded. I think having two upgraded where it increases the damage of all of them by 2 is just going to help with our scaling and increase our damage output, which I think, even though we're not lacking in it, it could be better. So yeah, we might as well just go with that, I think, just upgrading the damage, particularly because we're going into this elite fight against the 3 knights. Alright, so pretty decent turn 1, I think. We can certainly play Arsenal. So we play that out. We're going to play the Maul first before we play Collision Course, and typically the order I like to kill these guys in is kill the Spectral Knight first, because he puts the debuff that makes all of your cards ethereal on turn 1, then go after the Magi Knight because they put a debuff that downgrades all your cards. Obviously we want the Maul here first for the Akabeko trigger. And then we can play Collision Course, we can play the Reflect, and I guess, yeah, I've made a mistake. I thought I had an extra energy and we didn't, but never mind. So we take a bit of damage here. I thought I was going to be able to play the guards. So obviously the Convergence is not going to retain anything because of the Ethereal. Fortunately we're only blocking for 9 currently, and we can't kill the Spectral Knight this turn without using at least one of the potions. So I think we'll use the Draw Potion first, because we've got lots of energy to spend. Alright, let's also... hold on, no, we're not going to draw all of them. Let's play Crush Under first, reducing the incoming damage. Then we can play Glimmer. I'm just going to put the Quasar back on top, I think. Wait, so yeah, unfortunately here we are just going to have to take some damage. I'm going to play both the Patters and both the Mauls. As I say, we're just trying to get this middle guy down as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, we are going to take quite a big hit here. Well, 7 in the end. So we lose all our upgrades. Right, because we've got 3 Mauls in the draw pile, I think I'm just going to play the Spoils of Battle first. Okay, so indeed we did draw the Mauls. I like just playing Solar Strike here first though, so this will kill here. And I think just in the interest of trying to get the kill as quickly as possible, we need to just play the Mauls. We've got 2 more coming next turn. So yeah, we just need to try and get this other Magi Knight at the back here dead. So we will be taking, again, 5 more damage, but hopefully we're able to get the kill on them soon. Right, so we're going to get Nunchaku this turn. So I'm going to play Patter. We'll maul once, we'll maul twice. And I guess we manifest Authority. We get an ultimate defense. Probably should have done that the other way around, actually, come to think of it, because we'd have got an extra strength in. Here, we obviously drawing guards is pretty good. Celestial Might on its own currently will kill the Magi Knight at the back here. Yeah, I think this is fine. We'll just do it like this. So we play the Collision Course here. And then we can play guards, and I will transform all of these, except the Celestial Might. Just so that we are able to block the 13x2 that's coming in. Kill the other Magi Knight. And yep. Right, so we got through the fight, I think. Indeed we have. Maul's finishing the job in the end. Energy Potion, Festival Popper, obviously not the best relic at this stage of the proceedings, but welcome nonetheless. So we could consider another Crush Under, That is definitely going to help in the upcoming boss fights, because both of these have multi-attacks, and currently we only have the one way in which we reduce their strength. So yeah, I'm fine picking up a second Crush Under at this point. I guess we're going to see what the event is. Let's just go this way. I think I'd rather see an upgraded skill. I certainly don't want to get rid of the Gigantification Potion, although we could get an upgraded rare skill. Let's just think about this. Okay, so having looked at the potential for the rare skills, I honestly think that this is probably very takeable, getting rid of the Gigantification Potion, and that's simply because there's only one of these skills that we wouldn't necessarily want in our deck, and that is the Smith. Both Bundle of Joy and a second Guards is going to enable us to scale by gaining strength. Big Bang, if it's upgraded, it becomes innate, so we have that as an extra energy, a free energy on turn 1, and also, you know, a free star, and it will replace itself in hand. The Forge 5 is not very relevant, but it's still fairly decent. Foregone Conclusion can actually help us to set up turns, so that is pretty good. I'm Invincible could be potentially free block. We do have ways of putting cards back on the draw pile. And we've talked about decisions before. It is takeable now. I feel we've got enough star generation, and it wouldn't necessarily be bad for us. So I am going to pick up this Gigantification Potion, lose the Gigantification Potion for the rare skill. Oh, we even get to choose. That's even better. Okay, so we could take Guards, Bundle of Joy, or Decisions, which upgraded draws 5. I think I'm just going to take Bundle of Joy. We could take Decisions. They all exhaust, but Bundle of Joy giving us 4 random colourless cards. This is essentially after we've played Arsenal, right? It's 1 energy, gain 4 strength, and look at 4 cards. So I think that's very powerful. Going into the double boss fight, we are going to rest, so that we've got the most HP we can. And let's take on the Doormaker. Alright, turn 1 we're obviously going to get the Arsenal down. We can't deal any damage anyway. I think it is worth just to play out the 2 Mauls. We might as well play Quasar first to see what we get. Alright, so here I think we can just get the secret technique, and that skill is going to be Bundle of Joy. So we can just gain 4 strength. We can also play out Nostalgia, so the first attack or skill you play each turn is placed on top of your draw pile. So that could actually work very well with the Mauls. We see a Gambit, which is an interesting card. Gain 50 block, but if you take unblocked attack damage for the rest of the combat, you die. I think we might as well play out the Nostalgia. And we can sort of play with that in mind and play this Maul just to increase the damage of all of them. Alright, so we're pretty well set up on turn 1, I think. We've already got 5 strength. We've got a power in play. We are obviously in the different phases. The first one for Doormaker is whenever you play an attack or skill, it is exhausted. We've drawn Black Hole, so we might as well play that. We have 6 energy after all. I am going to play Glimmer just because we have got all this energy, even though it's going to exhaust. I think that's fine. We'll put Reflect back on this turn, I think. And here I think I'm fine just to play Venerate. Don't mind that going. And we'll play Glitterstream Defend, so we do block at least a little bit. Alright, so obviously we can't draw additional cards this turn, so we're not going to play the Spoils. We need to bear in mind that the first attack or skill we play is put on top of our draw pile. I think I'm actually fine with playing the Convergence here in that case. Just gaining energy and stars next turn seems pretty good, so we'll play that. Also going to play the Reflect, so we actually block a bit, and one of the Mauls to start the scaling for those. Yep, so unfortunately we're taking 10 here. Alright, I think, again this turn I think we'll just play Convergence, just retaining our hand and getting energy next turn. Probably going to play Guards next turn. but we'll do Solar Strike and Maul, just to try and deal some damage. Okay, so this turn I think we are going to use guards. We are going to collision course first. We get our energy back. I'm also going to play out both the Crush Unders here, just to reduce the incoming damage. Spoils to draw 2 more cards. And then guards to transform Debris, Sovereign Blade, defend, Patter. Right, so we're up to 10 strength now. Let's play out all these sacrifices so we are full blocking. And I think the convergence is fine. Alright, so not able to draw additional cards this turn. I think we definitely want to play out the Maul first. Let's play alignments. Let's play out some more Mauls. Right, let's start Manifest Authority. Okay, Master Strategy, let's draw. Actually, no, we can't, can we? So this is interesting. I'm considering playing Gambit here, just because we are so close to getting them dead, and we could potentially use the Energy Potion next turn to try and push through the damage, because we've got the draw. The first card that we play will cost more. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use Cosmic Indifference to put back Alignment. We'll play Gambit and Convergence. Okay, so Alignment is still energy positive. And now we can safely play out our cards. Alright, let's play double Maul. Another Maul. Celestial Might. Alright, GG. The Doormaker goes down. Okay, so the experiment. The test subject. Alright, so getting Arsenal down, obviously. I think I'm probably going to look at the skill potion now, even though it's going to buff their strength. Okay, I'm happy to draw cards here. Let's play the Maul, because that's going to give us our energy back. Let's play Prophesize, get a full grip. Alright, first I'm just going to look and see what Quasar makes. Okay, I think if we just get Secret Weapon and fetch another one of the Mauls, that's going to essentially beat this phase this turn. So might as well get the one that increases the damage from the Mauls by the most. Alright, so with 5 energy this turn we're just going to Glimmer first, I think, and see what we can find. Okay, I'm going to put Collision Course back, I think. Okay, I'm actually going to put Crush Under back. Just because we know we're going to get multi-attacked again next turn. Now we're going to have to play Solar Strike to get 2 stars. Which is going to enable us to play the Reflect, which is actually pretty good. We're going to be able to deal a lot of damage back here. Oh, I guess we should have played this Collision Course first. Never mind, because that gives us a strength. And then let's play Crush Under. Reduces the strength coming in, and we are just full blocking here, so we don't get any wounds put in our discard pile, crucially. Alright, so I think there's a strong possibility we're going to use the energy potion here, but I'm just going to play Bundle of Joy so we can gain 4 strength, and let's see what cards we make. Okay, so it made us a panic button, which I actually think is definitely going to get played here. If we play Crush Under, it's going to reduce the incoming damage to 36. And that's actually going to enable us then to play one more card and we will still full block this. And potentially next turn, with the extra energy from the Happy Flower, we should be essentially beating this one next turn, so the debuff of not being able to gain block won't matter because we'll be killing it that turn. So yeah, let's just go for it. Let's play Crush Under, Panic Button, Convergence. So we've still got 6 in our hand and this is 36. Exactly full blocking, so no more wounds. Alright, so I think I've worked out we can get a kill on the test subject this turn. I'm also going to use the energy potion because if we don't use it we're not able to get Black Hole down, and I really would like to get that down. We can see that we're going to draw guards next turn, so we should be able to transform some of the bad cards in our hand. So yeah, I'm just going to use this now, and then we can play Black Hole. We're also playing Convergence. Patter is crucial for the 2 Vigor here, and so is the energy we're going to get from Nunchaku. So this Celestial Might deals 60. The Maul deals 38, but also gives us an energy back. And then Volley is exactly enough to kill this turn. So the final phase, the test subject is intangible this turn. I'm still going to play this Crush Under just so that they lose 2 strength, and that's going to reduce the incoming by 6, so we're now only taking 27. I think I'm just going to try and set up for next turn. Next turn I want to have quite a big turn if we play Alignment, probably the Scroll, drawing lots of cards. For that reason, I'm just going to actually transform the Prophesize. Even though it is good card draw, we've got other sources of card draw, and I don't think we necessarily need it right now. We'll get rid of the Purity, Defend, Prophesize, and probably Patter as well, honestly, just for the extra strength. So yeah, we're going to do that. We'll transform. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 4 extra strength. We can play 3 of them to full block, and we can also play out Convergence, so that next turn we've got lots of good options. Also not playing the alignment this turn because we're about to spend 10 and gain 10 block. Because we could full block this turn, we can use that 10 block next turn. So I'm just going to start off by sort of playing the cards we're definitely going to... So we're going to play Alignment. So that's going to give us 10 block and 2 energy. Obviously we're going to play this Minion Sacrifice for the block. I think we're also fine to play Reflect here, because we're going to deal 36 back, and well, more than that once we get the extra block in. I think I'm definitely going to play these 2 Mauls just to deal damage, and also use the Scroll here. Right, so obviously we've got 10 cards in hand. I think I'm just going to play 2 of them. We'll block the majority of this, so we'll deal 44 damage back, but it's definitely got to be the Maul. This is our main source of damage, so already we're up to, what's it, 28 by 2, so that's 56 damage. That's nearly over a quarter of the HP remaining. And I'm going to play Convergence again. I think just chaining these together where we get energy and stars every turn and retain our hand is really powerful. And then Cloak Clasp deals us another 8, so we just take 1. Alright, so they're very much within range. We just need to try and set up for next turn. guess the first thing we do is just play Manifest Authority. It's going to give us a strength, and we also get to see another card. So Mind Blast is not the best. I think I'm going to play the Solar Strike just for the stars. Cosmic Indifference, I think, just puts back one of the mauls. Yeah, it looks like we're probably going to draw into mauls next turn anyway. But we can also put something else back. Possibly Guiding Star? Just as extra card draw, in case we don't draw another one of the mauls. Because I think, honestly, with the amount of HP they've got left between... We only need 2 mauls, and it's a win. So, what I'll do here is, first we'll do Glimmer. Okay, well we don't even need to put the Guiding Star, because we can just put this maul back. Yeah. So that's currently 30 damage twice, that's 60. And one of this other maul will do it, and we can draw them both next turn, right? So we'll just put that maul back. We'll Cosmic Indifference, put that maul on top. And then I guess we don't need to do anything else. We can just Venerate, generate some more stars. We might as well play Volley as well, because it's going to give us an Nunchaku. So Burns go in the discard, but we're not going to see them. Alright, GG. Thank you very much for watching. If you made it this far, please consider giving a like and subscribe to the channel. We very much appreciate your support. Yeah, GG for now.